Well, hello and welcome to Hair Metal Mixtape, David.
Yeah, awesome to be on the show, man.
No problem, dude. So first of all, thank you so much for doing this. Man. You're currently in Australia, as we know, and I believe it's a little bit early. Actually, for you, it's tomorrow compared to me, man. Right?
Exactly. No, it is pretty early here. It's coming up to 7 a.m. in the morning now. So
that's pretty tricky, man. Where in Australia are you calling from?
We're in Melbourne, so in Melbourne, Australia.
14 hours ahead, man.
14 hours ahead. City's just literally just over there.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, dude. So is Melbourne your original hometown, or are you from another part of Australia? Oh, yeah.
No, Melbourne's our hometown, yeah. So myself, Ben, Glenn, and Matt, we're all from Melbourne, so.
Born and bred, man. Born and bred.
Yeah. OG's here.
That's awesome, dude. So earlier we heard the track Save Me From Myself that I played from the self-titled debut album released this past July of 2021. Tell me about that song, man.
Well, it was one of the first ones that we actually sort of come into we released actually. Save Me From Myself, a little bit on the heavier end considering to the other sort of songs on our album, I suppose. A bit more influenced there by Pantera, I suppose, like for writing on that sort of track, musically wise, and then all of a sudden Glenn kind of gave it like a bit of a directional spin, with his vocal lines. Just a great sort of pumping track, I suppose. I love playing that. That's our opening track every time that we sort of start off in the concerts, come around with the drums and sort of just make some fucking noise, and then all of a sudden, we kick in with that and then just sort of watch the crowds just sort of take off from there, which should be good.
That's awesome, dude. And that was the first single release from that album?
That was our first. Well, from the actual album, yes. We did do and one before that, prior to us being signed by Golden Robot Records. We did No Friend of Mine, which was the actual very first release. So under Golden Robot Records, this one was definitely the first release, which was Save Me From Myself. And we got a good response from that track. So it was really great to actually sort of get it out there, I suppose.
That's awesome. And yeah, I wanted to spin the track because you guys recently released a lyric video for it. And I got to say, man, so much better than most lyric videos these days, dude. Like it hits all the nostalgia points for me, man, from like the Shotgun Mistress cassette and Walkman to like the heavy metal guitar pedals and all the way to the freaking Masters of the Universe action figures, dude. How fun is that?
Well, we got stuck when we were actually filming all of that. We actually got bloody stuck because COVID hit by that stage. So we couldn't get together as such and kind of film anything because, the record label's on our case a little bit. When are we going to get these clips? We need to release that. We need the assets. And we're like, okay, let's just try and sort of bang our heads together for a second here and try and work something out. And then I come up with the idea of sort of doing the stop motion video. And I thought, well, hang on, we can all just sort of sit at home and just take like a billion photos and then we can all just sort of puzzle piece this together. Then we'll just give it all to Glenn and then he can sort of throw this whole thing together. So my daughter and myself are out first in the shed. We're making these little 3D miniature sets and crazy shit sort of going on out there. And we're like, oh, what can we do now? Oh, we'll just throw this in here and we'll just sort of do a little bit of that. And then it sort of just come together and then we're all just sort of spitballing ideas, from there. And then it sort of got a little bit out of control with the He-Man figures and we had the Crow sort of figures coming because I'm like a massive toy nerd guy, I suppose. And same with like Ben and the guitarist, Matt.
Nice.
So we're like, well, why don't we just use our toys and just do a few things with this? Or what have you got?
My really terrible looking Big Trouble in Little China figures, man.
Ah, yes. That is gold.
Yeah, dude, I hear you.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Oh, dude, I love that shit. All right, so later today in the mixtape, I'm also going to be spinning the single Collide, which apparently ended up freaking number 4 on the iTunes rock charts, man. Tell me a little bit about that song, dude. That song is awesome.
Yeah, no, that was all right. Influence for that track was more based upon one of the records I can see in the background behind you. A bit of Motley Crue.
Yeah, dude.
There's the influence on the record. That was kind of the idea that we kind of ran down. And Glenn put in his lyrics obviously changes the dynamic once again. We sort of had that more disco sort of feel. Matt's guitar riff on that is just phenomenal. And then the time signatures, yes, it's in like 4/4, but we're kind of coming in the 4 ands and like the 2 ands. And, it sort of confuses a few people the drumming world and the bass line, they just sort of, how the hell are you guys coming in there? And it's just like, it's really clever how you done that. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It was just sort of coming in on certain phrases and how it works. That track, and then Alex, we gave that song to Alex from Electric Mary, who we're just about to be touring with as of this Friday. We start tour.
Yeah.
So Alex Ronjak, he did the video clip for us. We kind of sort of gave an idea. Same principle again. We got stuck with COVID and we couldn't film anything, so we had to get creative again. So we decided to do an animation clip this time, and then gave it to Alex, which he was doing. And then we all did that same principle. We all had to sit in our bloody sheds, and we took like real photos of ourselves and then gave it to Alex, and then he sort of puzzle pieced us into the clip, I suppose, and then designed and built, the devil and the cars and all the crazy shit that's going on in that clip, and then sort of made it so we got Collide.
That's awesome.
Which, it's just such a great song. And like, that's one of my favorite tracks to actually play live. It's just got that solid groove, and I don't know, man, it just sort of sets everyone on fire a little bit. So it's a great track.
Yeah, man, I can imagine, dude. That live must be pretty awesome. Now, this whole album is out, and it's really fantastic, man. Like, I don't see this that often, but definitely no filler, all killer, And the album ends, the album ends on the very powerful and like beautiful power ballad, "May She Never Walk Alone," which you guys recently released an acoustic version from, was something called the Unplugged Sessions. Like, what was that all about? Yeah,
we've got a couple of tracks coming out. So we have the "May She Never Walk Alone," and we're also doing another one for "Bleed Me Out." So we've got the two tracks that are going to be coming out in an unplugged version. "May She Never Walk Alone" was a personalised song for myself. My sister was murdered about 6 years ago now. So that's what the track is actually about. My parents were going through a real difficult time, for the whole process of it all through the courts and basically everything. And it was kind of my way to sort of give back to like myself, my family, and then other people who have gone through the same sort of shit, you know what I mean? And, just to kind of give back to them and just sort of say, hey, they're gone, but they're still with us. And, may they never walk alone. So, that's basically what that track is about.
Oh,
so it's kind of my way of sort of saying goodbye, and but it was an emotional roller coaster for me, but I think it sort of hits home on a few levels, and it just sort of gives everyone like, wow, that's a great song, and it's real, you know what I mean? It's not bullshit, it's not fake, it's actually made upon something that is actually true. So I think they delivered a better sort of sound, I suppose, to the listener's ear when we do that. So
yeah, man, it's a beautiful song, man. Yeah, definitely. My condolences to you on that.
Glenn did it really justice. All the boys did when we played it. It was just incredible, man. Like when we actually recorded it, was just it was a really good sound. The guitars and stuff on the album version are up like slightly louder because we haven't got the string parts that we can play live when we actually do it. Hence why we did the unplugged version of that, just so the listener could actually hear and feel the energy on that song just that little bit more. And that's hence why we're doing Bleed and so forth as well, because that's another good track which has got a good meaning behind that. So we just sort of thought, well, let's just kind of run through some of our hit singles and then just sort of redo them in a different version and just sort of show a bit of a different dynamic of what we can actually do instead of just playing rock and roll. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, man, dynamic is great, dude. You got to have the dynamics and you got to show both sides of the coin, which is awesome.
Yep.
So in the bio, it mentions how you and Matt are pretty much the band founders. How did you guys meet and hook up with the other guys?
Well, interesting question. So Matt and I met each other through sort of acquaintances, I suppose, in high school. When we were 16 or so, and then we played in a band together. He was like my first guitarist. I was his first drummer ever to be sort of done, I suppose, or performed together. We used to play in like a Pantera sort of Megadeth, so like a tribute sort of band, I suppose. We just used to play a lot of their shit, man, and just blow people's minds away. Like, shit, these guys really play that sort of stuff for what? It's like, then Matt sort of progressed and then went into another band, which was Steel Affliction. And then that's how Ben sort of came on the same bass player. And then he played in another band a few years later with Glenn. So he sort of collaborated with all of us. And then we kind of lost touch for about 20-something years. And then he went overseas and did his thing with Akakocker and a few other major wave bands over in the UK. And And then he came back. I think it was 2012. We were actually sort of caught up at Soundwave. And I hadn't seen him for about, at least 15 years, 16 years or so. And then he said, I'm moving back home soon. So we actually he moved around the corner from where I live now. And then he's like, oh, what are you doing with music? And I'm like, I'm just having a break from the other bands. And he's like, good, here's a few tracks. Like, you want to do something with some rock and roll. So it was kind of like, at the start, it was all just for a joke, because we got sick of listening to all the shit that was on the radio, I suppose. Yeah, it was just really repetitive, and it was just like, it was mind-numbing. And there was no inspiration left on the radio. So we're like, well, maybe we should just write a bloody album or so and then sort of give that a go and then, get it out there. So that's kind of what we did. So he had the brain to sort of puzzle pieces all together, as your question was asked. And then Matt and I got together for the first 2 weeks. We wrote, 3 tracks, I think it was. And then we got Glenn in just to test out his vocal. And then he kind of walked in. It was like, shit, yeah, this dude kind of looks like a bit of a rock star. So he sort of entered into the room, wondering if that vocal's going to match what we're going to be doing with all our music. And then he's kind of just, it sort of took off from there. And then 2 weeks after that, then Ben's come in, and that's how Shotgun was formed. So it was at the start for a joke, but now it's kind of taken off. We're like, okay, we better sort of take this really seriously now.
Now it's definitely no joke.
Where it goes.
Yeah.
We're not joking anymore.
Nope, no joke, no joke. Real deal shit now.
We're actually here now. Yeah. We're here to entertain us now. We're here to make some good rock and roll and hopefully get into your country and, come and say hello to everybody as soon as we possibly can.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude. And do you guys have similar taste in music?
We do, man. Like, every one of us have got the same passion for rock and roll and 80s metal, 90s metal, and all that sort of stuff. Matt and I, starting off with like our Pantera, of course, that's just just balls to the wall, that shit. Then you got your Motley Crue, man, which is just like your sleaze rock and just what you expect. You know what I mean?
Right, totally.
And then you got these tasteful little riffs like slashes, like What's Brought Us All Together, Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver. It's just like that Sunset sort of strip era of fucking awesome rock and roll, man. And it's just like, we want to bring that back. That's just awesome. Like, even though we're in a different country to where you guys are, we just love that music. And that's what we're trying to achieve, is just trying to get over there and just, do that full circuit. I'm just, with those guys, would be insane.
Yeah. And I think you guys are definitely pulling it off, man. So I don't think it's going to be a problem at all.
Thanks, Gabe. And I can see that you're wearing one of our other Golden Robot records.
Yeah, dude.
Artist, man. Big shout out to Eric. Come on.
Erica Wild Street. That's right. I'm wearing my Wild Street shirt. That's because I don't have a freaking shirt yet from you guys. So I'm going to be wearing this in the meanwhile.
Well, we might have to change that one up for you, Gabriel. We might have to send one across.
Recently, I saw a video on Facebook where I believe it was your singer Glenn hanging out at a vegan cafe with Electric Mary's Rusty Brown discussing this upcoming tour, man. Tell me about this upcoming tour, dude. It sounds pretty exciting.
So that's why we're all hanging out. That's why I'm at work nice and early this week. I'm trying to get all the shit done that I do at my normal job. And then we start touring, man, this week. So Tasmania is where we're first heading off to this Friday. We've got a show down there at the Republic Bar. Then we're heading up to the Gold Coast. So basically doing the Australian tour, not anywhere else, unfortunately, just at the moment. And yeah, man, with the legends of Electric Mary, like Rusty and, Pete Spider, Alex and Brett, like all the members of their band, just phenomenal guys. And we're really looking forward, and we're very inspired to be on tour with those guys. So this is just going to be one hell of a rock and roll fest. And just can't wait till the end of the week to hurry the fuck up and we can get out of here.
It's going to be awesome, dude. Holy shit. Yo, on the video, it says that they were having a daily chin wag. What the fuck is a chin wag?
That's an Australian term. Just for chatting to everybody. So we're just going to be like talking like what we are right now. Okay. So technically our slang term for that is that you and I are now having a chin wag.
That's awesome, dude. Are there any other Aussie terms or sayings that you want to tell our listeners about that we need to learn up here in the North?
There's probably too many to try and list out. You're probably going, what the fuck are these crazy bastards talking about? So, we'll leave that for another show.
Yeah, dude, totally. It could go down a big fucking rabbit hole, man.
That's like Alice in Wonderland plus.
Totally, dude, totally. And like I mentioned, man, your singer Glenn hanging out at that vegan cafe.
Yeah.
Are you guys all vegan, or if not, like even if you are or not,
Not
like,
all,
what's your go-to
not all of
food
us,
for you
no.
guys?
No, look, we all like eating good food and looking after ourselves, obviously. You know, that's just a part of life. And as you get older, you know, you got to kind of look after yourself and just sort of keep your body, you know, your body is what you eat. And you present whatever it comes out from that sort of point. So if you eat shit, well, you're going to presenting shit. You know what I mean? So if you eat well, okay, then you sort of present well.
So what's your guys's like go-to food after like a show or rehearsal?
Well, I'm not one of those guys. I'm very laid back and very fucking easy going. Like I crave a steak and salad and chips and all that sort of shit.
Gotcha.
Like where the other guys, I have no idea what they eat. So whatever they eat, Gabriel, it's up to them. But I must admit, vegan food, when Glenn does take me out to some of these places, is bloody amazing.
Yeah.
And the taste and so forth of what they actually get out of it is just phenomenal.
That's
so
awesome.
We tried one place here in Melbourne. I can't remember what the bloody place is called, but they've made like a Big Mac, like literally like the McDonald's version of Big Mac. But obviously the hamburger and the vegan part is bigger, but it tasted exactly the same. I was like, holy shit, like how the hell have they got that to do that? But then it questioned me. I'm like, if a vegan was trying to not eat meats and so forth, why the hell would you want to eat a Big Mac then? And the other sort of side of it.
Right. Totally, dude. Totally. And when it comes down to in the end, it's usually just the friggin' toppings, you know, like it's the lettuce and the tomato and the ketchup or whatever the other shit you put on it that ends up tasting what it is like, you know? So it's like just exchange.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, dude, just change out the carcass patty with like a veggie patty. You're pretty much good to go.
That's it. Vegan Big Macs.
Yeah, dude.
So
yeah, I was asking because like here in the States, man, like everyone always hits up like diners after shows and like rehearsals and stuff because they're usually open 24 hours a day. So I was just wondering, like around I mean, I'm sure there's tons of 24-hour
there's
joints
tons of places. Yeah. There is tons of places around Melbourne. Like in the middle of the night, like, you know, drive around and try and find a souvlaki store or something.
Oh, souvlaki. Yeah, there you go. Some good stuff,
or a hot dog or something, you know what I mean? Like a hot dog is stuffed with everything. It's just like, yeah, that's like your only food that you can kind of get, or you get your McDonald's and all that sort of shit in the middle of the night when you finish doing all your shows, and then you're kind of like, well, yeah, I'm getting a bit hungry. No, we try and eat before we'd actually play. So
yeah,
if we're at the place that we're staying at, you know, for tour, try and eat there. We'll just find something that's nice, sort of around the area, and just sort of all of us bunch in there together and kind of have a bit of a meal, and then go to the bloody place that we're actually performing at and do our sound checking and just kind of get ready, do your stretches, warm ups, all that sort of shit, and then get into it and entertain the people.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I was for a long time. I mean, I still kind of am. I was a tour manager and a front of house engineer for bands. So like that was always the argument on the road. Like if you're in the van tour, it's just like, where the hell are we going to stop and what are we going to eat? Especially when everyone eats totally different things, dude. So it's always like this like kind of argument of like, no, bro, we fucking ate at Cracker Barrel last time. Like we got to go to the next place, you know? And it's hilarious, man.
Awesome, Gabe. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, it seems like that's all the time we have for today, man. But in the meantime, like, where should listeners go to see and hear more of Shotgun Mistress?
They can find us on all socials. So we're on Twitter, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on basically everything. I think Glenn even signed us up for TikToking.
Nice,
so,
dude.
Our old bastards are now on TikTok.
You got to do your little dances on TikTok and shit.
Yeah, I just like all these little funny videos and shit. You're going to see plenty of those, man, when we're on the road. So Glenn's got this 8mm camera that we're going to have whilst we're on the road. So there should be a couple of really cool things, man, that we'll film, and we'll try and sort of stay on our socials as much as possible. Instagram and Facebook and everything. We'll be doing a lot of live shit there as we sort of move around what we're doing around the country. So every weekend, if you zoom on in and follow us, that would be great.
That's awesome.
And then, we'll just keep presenting and keep trying to sort of get as much content as possible to everyone so they can sort of follow us along and feel like they're knowing us more and more.
Oh, man, that's great, dude. David, absolute pleasure to meet you, man. Again, thanks for coming on. Brother. At the crack of dawn down under there, and let's do this again sometime, dude.
No, you're a legend, Gabriel. Thanks for having me on the show, my brother, and hopefully we'll chat really soon.
Cool, man. Thanks a lot, man. Rock on.
Rock on, bro.
Peace.